So I saw The Last House on Netflix, and it's pretty good. It's a cross between War of the Worlds, A Quiet Place, and Dawn of the Dead. In fact, the first 45 minutes it shares the same blueprint as Dawn of the Dead. It's an interesting look at the disaster slash apocalypse story trope. Wagner Moura certainly carries the film, but what lets it down is Greta Lee's performance and the script. It does show some ingenious ways the family has to survive, but there is an abrupt time jump 5 years later, which can be quite jarring. But otherwise, it's a film that you can quite easily watch with low effort in the background or just watch on a Saturday night. So the story starts off with Jason, Wagner Moura's character, who is fishing in the early hours of the morning. And when he arrives home, a storm starts approaching the mainland and is really quite intense. He tries to get into the house, but the garage doesn't open. Tries the front door, and that seems to be fine. He's there with his family, and all seems normal at first. As the storm progresses and gets worse and worse and starts getting heavier with the rainfall, then the mystery starts occurring. And soon he figures that he actually can't get out of his own house and try and figure out what's going on and why this is happening. And then he sort of like takes a bit of a breath and realizes that actually he's not the only one who's dealing with this. All the other houses around his suburban neighborhood are suffering the same fate. Is this the end of the world? Is this the government? And then chaos ensues. So there are some decent things about this film, one of which is the fact that it's a low effort film that you can just watch in the background or just watch it on a weekend and just chill out and watch it in the safety of your own home, and away you go. It's pretty low key, and it's an easy watch. And also it has like world implications of like War of the Worlds. It has the eerie monster aspect of A Quiet Place, and it has the humor and human element of Dawn of the Dead. For example, the first 45 minutes is basically the same blueprint as Dawn of the Dead. If you remember the scene of them in the mall, they communicate with whiteboards across the street to a gun shop owner, and they're sort of exchanging messages, and there's also like a passage of time montage, and it's very, very similar, very reminiscent of that film. It's almost like they copied and pasted it into this. Wagner Moura's performance is actually what glues the film together. He is the parental figure that sort of holds the family dynamic together, and is really quite clever and really quite an interesting character. He's an engineer, so he comes up with all of these sort of like ingenious ideas of like how to fish for food and trap the animals and all that sort of stuff, which is kind of cool. The thing is though, it doesn't really give you like much explanation as to who he is. It just says when he's communicating with the other neighbors through the whiteboard, he just says he's an engineer, and that's it. So it doesn't really give that much background. Yes, you do kind of see him early on fishing, so that does give you a little bit of a clue, but it doesn't. It just says engineer. It doesn't really give you like any specifics to that character. So the script kind of lets itself down on that aspect. Greta Lee's performance, I think, was a little bit wooden and monotonous, and it doesn't feels out of place and poor casting, in my opinion. We kind of saw that a little bit in Tron Ares as well. The whole family dynamic as a whole does work when they are all together, which is quite good. What I found was a little bit unrealistic, and I don't know how plant life works, but I think within 5 years, that big time jump I talked about earlier in the intro, the whole street had been completely overtaken by the plant life. So I don't know if that's what you would consider accurate. I don't know how long it takes for plant life to grow or anything like that, but it is what it is. What I would say was quite entertaining and quite dynamic action sequence was the water sequence in the house. where they trap one of the sea monsters, which was kind of cool, and the whole reveal of the sea monster was pretty decent as well. Although I think they should have just kept it in the shadows, kept it sort of in the periphery of our vision, not like fully in your face, but that's just me. But I guess eventually they did have to sort of reveal the monster for the ending to work, because it because the ending is kind of weak, really. They kind of reason with the monster and they sort of go off their separate ways, and then that's it. So the survival stuff is good. The family dynamics and Wagner Moura performance is good. Also, Greta Lee's performance and the script kind of what lets the film down. And there were certain aspects where it's just a little bit convenient as well, and a little bit unrealistic. I felt, but like I said, it's one of those films that you could just have on in the background whilst doing your chores, like the ironing or the washing, or even if you just want a low effort film that you can just like chill out to on a Saturday evening and get lost in a film and not have to worry about what's going on, and then pause it if you need to, and then go off and do something else, come back to it, and you know exactly what you're getting. So it's just a standard sort of disaster monster story. Can't really go wrong. Sometimes that's all you need. So yeah, let me know what you think of the film and what your favorite sort of like disaster apocalypse film is of recent times that Netflix have like produced. Please remember to like and subscribe to my channel, and if you like other videos like this, then check out the video here, and I shall see you in the next video.